So I don't know about you, but after I ate lunch, I was very sleepy. I don't know if you are sleepy as well. So whoever is not sleepy, raise your hands. Okay, good. That's a good start. At least it shows you're paying some attention to me. So what I'm going to talk about today is how you can Nxify your Angular app. And specifically, I'm going to talk about NxCloud. Anyway, I'm Katerina Skroumpelou and I'm a product advocate at NX. And these logos I have here one is from NX, the other is from NxCloud, the other is from Angular. And if you combine these together, you get a very fast and good experience. If you want to follow along with the slides, this is the link to the slides. It's ngday24-nx.netlify.app. I will share this link afterwards as well. Thank you for the water. Okay, so let's go. Hello, I'm Katerina. This is my picture on Mount Olympus after I climbed to the top. I'm a product advocate and engineer at NX. I'm a Google developer expert for Angular and Maps. I'm a Women Tech Makers ambassador. I'm a speaker and an instructor. And I really like cats, as you noticed, mountains and chocolate. So if you have some chocolate, come find me afterwards. I can give you cat stickers in exchange for chocolate. And you can find me on Twitter at CyberCity or on Blue Sky, which is getting some attention lately, at cyber.city, or go to my website, cyber.city. Now, this is sort of how I like to introduce myself to, in events. But the real me is that I do not take no for an answer. I'm a very, very determined person. So I am pretty sure that after I finish this presentation, you will not say no to NX, and I will find you and I will hunt you down until you start using NX and NxCloud. But this is the unofficial introduction of the record. This is the official me. One of the things that speaks to me being a very determined person, and I will give some credit here, which is irrelevant to NX and irrelevant to Angular and irrelevant to this presentation, is that you know how sometimes we want to punish ourselves, and I have it a lot. I don't know if nobody here likes to punish themselves. And there is this tool, slide.dev by Anthony Fu, who is amazing, by the way, that you can create slides with code. Usually I have my own slide deck, which is in Keynote, and I update it between presentations to add new features of NX. But for this presentation, I thought I will do something new. I will punish myself, and I will create the slides with code. I will not do it again, but the good thing is that I used bolt.new, which is a new tool by StackBlitz. I'm not getting paid by this. This is just some new tools I found that I'm really excited about, and I'm sharing this with you before I start with the talk. So I used bolt.new, and bolt.new sort of created the slides. The bad thing was that afterwards, for fine-tuning with the code, it was a nightmare. It took me like 3 days, whereas in Keynote it would have taken 1 hour. But still, these are two new amazing tools that I like to use. Anyway, let's go to NX and Angular now, okay? Did I lose anyone? Okay, I lost one person. Thank you. Okay, so the way I want to tell this story today is to explain how you can enhance and progress Angular using NX. So my idea and my understanding from being an Angular developer so many years is that Angular developers like myself, like yourselves, we're familiar with tooling like code generators, executors, and abstractions. Some Angular CLI features that have always been there is, of course, the Angular CLI. We have ngUpdate for dependency management. We have ngGenerate for scaffolding applications, generating components. And of course, we have ngServe and other commands that we use as part of the architect to have our targets and build and serve and test and whatever. So the NX integration, in my mind, is natural. You have a familiar command structure, but NX offers enhanced CLI capabilities. And to me, in my mind, it would be a seamless developer experience and a seamless developer transition from Angular to using NX. Why NX feels so organic for Angular, as I said, it feels like a natural extension to Angular's existing tooling. So I will ask a question, who here is familiar with NX, first of all? Okay, why not all? I don't know. And who is already using NX? Okay, good, good. And is anyone using NX Cloud? Okay, one person. So this is weird because in my mind, usually whoever uses NX tends to use NX Cloud as well. But if you're not using NX Cloud already today, maybe you're going to see some benefits that you can get from this. So the key benefits of using NX on top of Angular is it enhances, of course, Angular's built-in abstractions. There is no steep learning curve for Angular developers because we are so used to such tooling. And it provides seamless integration with existing workflows, right? So I'm going to be sprinkling this presentation with my babies, just so that you don't get bored. I don't think you will get bored because I'm a very good presenter, but just in case, here are my babies so that you can remember them. So what does NX bring on top of the Angular CLI or on top of any application or any stack that you are using? We have the task runner, okay, obviously. You can run tasks through NX, and NX will do some amazing things for these tasks. We're going to see what these things are. One of these things is that NX caches task results. So if you run a task through NX, so instead of doing ngserve, you do NXServe, or rather build. Let's talk about build because build is cacheable. So instead of doing ngbuild and you do NX build, NX will cache the results and the task artifacts. So whenever you run build again, it will fetch results from the cache and not run build again. NX offers the project graph. So you can do NX graph and it will show your graphical representation of your workspace. I forgot to say that NX is a very good monorepo management tool. So in your workspace, you have different applications and libraries. I'm going to show you all these afterwards. But you have different applications and libraries. When you run the NX graph, you can see how these projects inside your monorepo are interconnected and how they depend on each other. Of course, generate code. Like Angular has its generators, NX has a huge, I won't say huge, variety of generators that you can use to generating applications, services, components, what have you. Automate updates. We take ngupdate one step further. We have NX migrate. So whenever you migrate from a version to the next, we provide code modification tools, code modification scripts that will not only update your package.json, but will also perform some code modifications in your actual code in order to move from one thing to the other. And for example, I don't know if we have a code generator for that or code migrator for that, but for example, if you wanted to move from what the person was talking, I don't remember your name, I'm sorry, from zoneless to whatever, or we could have a generator for that. That could just change your components and actually apply code modifications to your components to move from one thing to the other. Enforce boundaries. Where is my friend? Hello. So NX has a system that you can enforce boundaries within your workspace. You can tag project, and then you can tell ESLint or whatever linter you use about these boundaries. So, for example, you can say that if this project is tagged as application, it cannot import code that comes from, I don't know, the admin. Or if this is a util library, then it cannot import things from a UI library. And this is enforced through your linter, for example, so that you know exactly what code should be touched and what not, what code should be imported somewhere and what not. And we also have, we recently, I think for almost a year now, less than a year, we have an NX release, which streamlines your releases. You can use an NX release, and NX release just runs very smoothly. just a command, and it will take care of releasing your packages from your monorepo to npm and take care of versioning and everything. So it makes the development process very, very smooth. What's new? So NX is working closely with Angular and with the Angular team. It works with other teams as well, but especially with the Angular team, because the two creators of NX were in the Angular team. They left the Angular team, they made NX, and NX started back in, I don't know, 8 years ago as an extension to the Angular CLI. You can understand how interconnected these two teams are. So we try to stay on top of all the new developments that happen in Angular. So what we're bringing in Angular as NX is that we have added vtest support for your unit tests, for your Angular apps. We have full support for Angular 19, okay? We're experimenting with RSpec support. So now Angular, as you know, has Webpack and ESBuild. We are in the process of building a plugin that can support RSpec for Angular instead of ESBuild or Webpack. And we also invest heavily in module federation. So we have a lot of generators that can generate module federation setup for you. They will generate a remote. They will connect it to a host application, so you can make sure that your module federation applications, if you're using module federation, work in sync. So all of this is amazing. So why use NX Cloud if everything you have is in NX? So NX Cloud is one step further. So usually teams that want to scale, if it's a company, if they've been a small company or not, and they want to scale, they want to be able to add more applications, they want their CI builds to be cut down, they need some type of tooling around managing their builds and everything, and their CI pipeline, right? NX offers that, and it enables scaling, it improves speed, and reduces frustrations in your development workflow. I'll explain how. And NX Cloud is built for scale. It's specifically designed to handle large-scale development with optimal performance, and it's very fast. And we will understand why it makes everything fast right now. So you know how NX, as I said, analyzes your dependencies. Whenever you have, I will show you a visualization of this. Let me see. Okay, yes. So this is how the dependency graph in NX looks like, and we're going to see it live afterwards during the demo. So say your workspace looks like this. You have one application. The E2E tests of that application obviously depend on that application, and that application depends on some libraries. And one library depends on another library, library 2 depends on library 3, library 1 depends on library 4, and my app depends on all these libraries. Now, if you make it, so NX understands these relationships, right? And you can visualize them in the graph. Now, if you make a change in library number 2, for example, and you make a PR, and the PR triggers your CI, right? It triggers all your runs and builds and tests and everything. NX knows that the only projects that need to be rerun is my library number 2 that changed, but also my application, which depends on library 2, and the E2E test will need to run, right? But it will fetch from the cache all the artifacts from libraries 1, 3, and 4, because these were not affected at all. Is this clear? Yes. So you can see right away that with our affected capability and our cache, all this cuts down CI times by a lot. So this is a very big improvement. But on top of that, so if you run this either locally, or on your CI, where is it? Sorry. I knew I shouldn't have used the code slides. Okay. So if you run this either locally on the CI, you can use the cache that you created. But what we also have on NX Cloud is remote caching. What is amazing about remote caching is if you're working on a single repository and you're a big team, which I assume most of you are, you're a big team, you have your repository, and a lot of developers are working on that repository, they're pushing code, they're making pull requests. NX Replay, which is what we call our cache, puts the cache artifacts on Nxcloud. So if I make a PR and I run some builds, the artifacts from the builds I run or the tests I run are saved to the cloud. Then if a teammate of mine does some changes, they can use the artifacts that were produced by my changes, right? Not by my changes, use the cache that I created that was dependent on things that they hadn't touched. So for example, if my PR build library 1, 3, and 4 are on main, for example, and that person didn't touch library 1, 3, and 4 from main, they would use the artifacts that I created on the cloud. So we're talking about the shared cache here. So you can imagine how much the whole builds times are very much optimized in that way. And you can see also this improvement locally, because if I run a build locally, it will still fetch things from the remote cache for me locally, and they wouldn't need to rerun things again. So you see improvement both on your local development workflow and on your CI. The other thing that we offer is what we call NX agents. So NX, as I said, understands your dependencies. The good thing about understanding your dependencies is, let's go back and look at this nice graph. The good thing about understanding your dependencies is that it knows that library 3, for example, and library 4 are independent of each other. What does this mean? That if you build them or test them, this can run in parallel. Because the one is that they're like agnostic to each other. So the good thing about this is that, we can parallelize their tasks. What we offer, you can do parallelization in any way you want. Put a pin in there. What we have on Nxcloud is what we call NX agents, and you can parallelize your tasks on different machines. So you can have different machines working at the same time, working together. And for example, you can split either the unit test or the build task or the E2E tests, but you can split the tasks of one application, of another application, of a third application on different machines. And you can imagine how that speeds up the process, that rather than having one machine with how much power you want running all these tasks. So this provides even more speed. These are my babies again. Okay, I heard some laughs, so that means some people are paying attention. I hope that everyone pays attention. Okay. The other thing that we have, which is one of my favorite features, is what we call the Atomizer. So, who here writes E2E tests? I'm very sad that only 4 people write E2E. Actually, I'm very scared that only 4 people write E2E tests. Oh my God. Okay. In any case, whenever you push something, I assume that the team in your company that runs the E2E tests, who is not here today, because I will assume that every company has some sort of E2E test solution. So whenever you push something, the worst thing on the pipeline is the E2E tests, right? Who can agree with this? The longest thing on the pipeline is the E2E test. Nobody? Okay, because you don't write E2E tests. When you start writing E2E tests, you will see that your pipelines will be longer because of the stupid E2E tests. So you can wait for a PR to get merged like 20 minutes because it's all these E2E tests running. So what NX does is it splits and parallelizes the E2E tests. And what does this mean? Say that for an application, you have 4 different files of in your Cypress suite, right? In a normal way, a task executor would run all these files one after the other. The Atomizer of NX will split these tests by file. So it will run all the tests by file in parallel. So the 20 minutes can become 5 minutes. And to me, this is amazing. It has saved me a lot of time waiting for PRs to get merged, because you know you're on the merge train, and if you're working with merge train, something else gets pushed, and oh my God, the tests have to run all the way again. Never mind. Nobody can relate except for the 4 people Anyway, so yeah, for example, we also have this on, so everything we do, we dogfood it, and we have this on the NX repo as well, so you can see that for our next plugin, we have, I don't know, 10 Nxify tests. So NX will run all this in parallel, and it will take, the most it will take is, yeah, I see like 10 minutes here, but yeah, this is, maybe someone should break this test down into 2 or 3 files to, instead of 10 minutes, take 3 minutes. But what is also amazing is, if you're writing Nxify tests, you will have noticed that some of these stupid tests are flaky. And they run one time, and then you click rerun and they run. Has anyone experienced that? Okay, good. So what the NX will do is it automatically identifies flaky tests. And what it will do is it will automatically rerun the Nxify test instead of you going manually into GitHub and clicking rerun failed jobs. Oh my God. And NX will do this automatically. So this will save you time in the end as well, because you will not have to wait for the pipeline to finish, click rerun and everything. It will do this automatically until the test passes, which is also amazing to me. Obviously, as all companies in the past year, we have added some AI enhancements. So one thing that we do is that we have the error analysis, okay? So you click explain with AI on an error log, and it will send these logs to, I think, to GPT. We send them, and you get back an explanation for the logs. It's a bit easier than just copying and pasting into GPT, plus you get access to the premium GPT that we pay to have this feature, right? So I find it quite useful. What we also do is, remember how I talked about the agents? So when you run the command to parallelize the tasks on agents, you can choose how many agents you want to use. You want to parallelize them on 3 machines, or on 4 machines, or on 20 machines. We have an algorithm that, depending on the size of your project and your time of your pipelines, it will automatically tell you which is the optimal setup for you and how many machines you should use to get the result that you want. So yeah, this comes up with cost savings. Some new things that we're adding in the NX Cloud app is that you can now download some task artifacts, which means that you can actually download whole logs. We have improved the access control, so now we're working with an API key, but since you're not using NX Cloud, you will not know this. And you can actually see, remember how I showed you the affected graph? You can actually see this also online and see which projects were considered during CIP is what we call the CI pipeline execution. So to see exactly which projects were considered when running a pipeline execution. Yeah, I will show you this in the UI, it doesn't matter. And Christmas is close. Thank you, whoever laughed. It's very funny. Okay, I don't torture my cats. He really loves the Santa Claus suit. I promise. Yeah, so this is what I talked about, but I'm going to show you this in a bigger screen. The way that it visualizes the project relationships. And getting started is super easy. So if you're not already using NX, you can start using NX by just running npx NX init to any workspace. And if you're at the stage where you have an Angular application, but you want to move to a monorepo and you're considering, oh my God, how I'm going to start with NX, how I'm going to add new projects inside the same monorepo, we have released, I think it's been a month now, the NX import command that you can do npx NX init to your Angular application, or you can start with the new NX workspace from the beginning. And then you can do npx NX import, and it will bring into the monorepo any project that you want, maintaining the Git history as well. So you will keep your Git history if you want, it's optional. And you will also have all your projects into one workspace if you want to move to a monorepo, if you're ready to make the move to a monorepo. So it's very, very easy to adopt. I know that in the past, we have had a bad name of NX being this hard thing with a lot of configuration and too much overhead and like a steep learning curve. We have changed a lot in the past year. We're striving to make an adoption easy. So right now, if you just have an Angular application or a whatever application or a whatever web or TypeScript application, and you do npx and x in it, the only thing that it will do is it will add an nx.json file, and it will do some alterations in your package.json, nothing more. You can get crazy and add plugins and add everything. Thank you. But you don't have to do all that. If you want a lightweight setup, NX offers the option for the lightweight setup. If you want to go like fully blown NX with generators and executors, you can still do that. But it's very, very easy. If you are using NX and you're not using NX Cloud, which I think is most of the people who are using NX here, you can do NX Connect, and it will directly connect you to NX Cloud. Okay, now let's see a demo. I have added some reminders to myself for this demo. I will now show you the video connecting to NX Cloud. So here is, say, a new repository that I had. And, okay, I haven't clicked play. And if you just do npx nx connect, it will open this URL. And it integrates with GitHub. So if you have your demo pushed on GitHub, and you allow access to your GitHub and you do the integration, you can search for it and you can just click select, and it will connect your repository to NX Cloud. What it will do, let's give it a moment. What it will do is it will create a branch and create a pull request. It will do it all on its own, and you can open the pull request on GitHub and see what it does. It just adds, I think it just adds the cloud access token for GitHub, and merge it main. And then you can click this link and go to your NX Cloud dashboard, where you will be able to see whatever you have there. Now let me see my notes. Yes. Now the notes is, now I have a repository, this repository that I showed you that is pushed to NX Cloud, just so that I show you how it works. I'm going to make a change to this repository. I'm going to push that change, create a pull request, and see what happens. So let's create, okay, can you see? Git checkout -b or test CI Verona. And now if I go in my Angular application and just do a small change into library number 3, let's say, just whatever, title my library 3, and I commit this, char added a title, and I push test CI Verona. Yes, and I go to the pull request that has been created. Okay, and I create a pull request. Let's give it a moment now to see how this works. Let's wait for it. So because I pushed, what it does is, I didn't show you, bad me, I didn't show you this file here. So inside the GitHub repository, inside the workflows repository of .github in your repository, which I assume you have if you're using some sort of CI through GitHub Actions, we have this on pull request. So on pull request, this is triggered. This GitHub action is triggered, and what it does is it goes onto NX Cloud. It says start CI run. And then what it does, okay, it installs some things. And then what it does is npx nx affected. So it runs the affected commands for linting, testing, building, and E2E. So let's see how this happens now, because we created a pull request. Where is it? We created a pull request. It is running the CI GitHub action, and you can see that the NX Cloud bot posted here a report, and we can see all the details of what's happening here. So you can see that it's taking some time. I don't know why it hasn't started yet, but it's taking some time. So, but still, you can see, this is your the Nxcloud dashboard, that we have here the title of the pull request. Oh, and it's starting to spin up agents, right? So it has all these tasks that is running here, the test, the lint, the other test for the other library, the lint. So it's starting up agents. So it has started one agent here that is running the E2E tests, and it's going to start other agents as time progresses. You see, it spins up agent number 2, so it's doing some things, right? And here is the Nx replay, because if something is cached, it will fetch it from there. And here we can see what it ran. I had added just a log that logs hello world. And then we can see all the tasks here that are running, the test, the lint, and if we click here, we can see also all the logs, right? So this is the Cypress test that is running, so we can see all the logs from the Cypress test, right? As they will look on your console locally. Did you show me some time? Yeah, okay. And also the same thing for the tests, the JS tests. I don't know what tests these are. In any case, let me go back to my CIP. You can see here all the steps that are being run in the GitHub action. So it's going to checkout, it's restoring the node modules from cache, it's restoring, it's installing again, installing the sub-browsers, and running the agents. And you can see here the number of each agent, and you can see what is running on each agent, right? So you can, it's pretty granular. You can really understand what's going on. And okay, let's go here. Yeah, now the ends, you also can see the affected project graph that I was talking about. Because here, if you remember, we only changed library number 3. So this one was affected, so it had to build library number 2, and it had to build my app and run the E2E tests. The other 2 libraries, it didn't touch. If you remember, all the projects are these. So it only ran this side of the graph, right? It ignored this branch totally because it was not affected. Let's go back. Okay, yeah, I showed that. Let me go back to my notes. Okay, we saw the Nxcloud bot. Okay, let's go back to GitHub. Pull requests. Yes. So this round is finished. It says successfully run 2 targets on Nxcloud, the Nx affected, and just a log that I had run, just so that you can see that you can add logs as well. And all checks have passed. I can merge the pull request. Okay, some nice links that we can see. Let me see if okay, yes, we saw that. Okay, and I wanted also to show, we saw the affected project graph. Sorry, I'm not a native speaker, as you know. And sometimes I confuse words. So this is what I showed you before. It's the Atomizer. So this is for the NX repository, where we have the E2E React tests, and we have all these files that it is running separately and most probably in parallel, right? So you can see how much time is cut down. Imagine if it had to run all these tests linearly, one by one. It would take forever. Okay. So, as I like to say, NPX and NX need to change your life. It really is life-changing, I promise you. Yeah, the credit I gave in the beginning. So, this is again, it's my cat. He really likes his pineapple hat. It's not torture, I promise. Cute. So, get started with Nxcloud right now. You can take a photo of these links. nx.dev, we have monorepo.tools. You can find us either on Twitter at nxdevtools or blue sky at nx.dev. I have a website, cyber.city. And if you find me afterwards, I can give you some nice stickers that I have made with my website and cats. You can also go to the slides here if you want to keep track of the slides, and the demo, if you go to the slides, you will find the link to the demo. Did you take a picture of everything? I assume yes, because I was speaking a long time. So your feedback matters. The organizers asked me to share this QR code with you if you want to give feedback either for my talk or for the conference. And maybe we have a time for questions. Yeah, my presentation is over, so maybe we have time for questions.
Thank you very much. We have some question for you.
Yes, thank you.
First, if you had only 3 words to describe why to use NX, what would it be?
Only 3 words. Make development faster.
Cool. Perfect. Then, how much NX Cloud costs? Is it a lot of? Is it a lot more than?
Good question.
Is it a lot more than other pipeline providers, considering the future? Nxify, Vercel, GitHub pipelines?
Yeah. So good question. It's not. It does not replace Vercel or Nxify. Vercel and Nxify take care of deploying your site, right? So as you see here, I'm using Nxify to deploy these slides. What NX does is one step before that. You can add it to your pipeline. So as you saw, we use the NX through GitHub Actions. You can add the NX to your Circle CI, to your GitHub Actions, to your Jenkins. NX is an in-between step that you add on your CI pipeline to make it faster. So if you add the NX to your CI pipeline, it will use NX Cloud, which I'll tell how much costs, and it will cut down the time, right? So that then the deploy can become faster. So it's not a replacement for Vercel or Nxify or GitHub Actions. The cost, first of all, NX is open source, so it's free and open source. NX Cloud has a hobby plan, which is free. So what I showed you here, of course, it's just a stupid small application, it's free, okay? But we have a lot of customers that are startups or have small needs, small compute needs that can still stay within the hobby plan. So with the hobby plan, which is $0, and you don't have to put a credit card, you get an amount of credits, you get remote caching, you get agents, and if you see the usage here, you can see how many credits you spend on each run. A lot of startups or small companies still stay well within the limits of the hobby plan. However, if you have bigger needs, you can go to the team plan, which is $19 per active contributor, plus some usage costs. It's not a huge thing to pay for, and if you're a startup, we do have discounts. I think what we define as startup is a company that is younger than 5 years. And so maybe it would be around, considering also the credits that you use, maybe it would be around 200 or 300 euros per month, which for a company to cut down CI costs, it would be significant. It wouldn't be significant because you would be saving the compute time that you pay to Circle CI or to GitHub, for example. So it sort of evens out if you're already on a company that is paying some sort of CI tool some money. And if you're like a huge company with thousands of developers and you have huge compute time, you can go enterprise, which that is on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, then when do I realize I will need to integrate NX with my app? How complex the app has to be?
How?
How complex the app has to be?
I wouldn't say. I mean, you can start. I use it not because I work for it. I use it because it's easy to scaffold something. You know, you have all the generators and everything. So it's very easy to get started because you have generators for everything, in my opinion. So because there are a lot of tools out there that scaffold applications. You have the Create Vite app, you have the Angular CLI or whatever. And X is something like that. So you can use it to just scaffold something, or you can add it to an existing project to add scaffolding or generator capabilities that not all projects have, or not all project CLIs have. If you're already on an application, I would add Nx, just because if you don't use Nxcloud and you just use the CLI and you care about running times, it will just you will just benefit from the cache, from the local cache, which is totally free because it's open source. You will benefit from right off the bat. So I think it's good because it imposes some sort of architecture, and it keeps things organized and tidy, you know. So even if you don't have huge CI needs, it will still keep you organized locally and give like a clean architecture locally.
Last one,
Yes.
I promise. Does Nxcloud, it works only with GitHub or also other Git hosts like Bitbucket? Also,
Yes.
does Nx replace support multiple branches, for instance, cache release artifacts or release branches?
Yes to all of these questions. We support, I think with GitHub, it's only with GitHub that we have this rich integration that you can import repositories or manage users through GitHub and have the GitHub bot. But you can definitely add it to Bitbucket or any other version control system that you are using. And we do support multiple branches, yes. So let's just see here. And it's not a matter of supporting multiple branches. I mean, you will have in your CI file that you will have, whether it's GitHub Actions or Circle CI or Jenkins or whatever you had, as I said, it will run whenever you make a pull request, right? So you can see here, this is the Nx repository and it's open source and everyone can see this. I'm not showing you something proprietary. You can see that there are a lot of different pull requests here that the CIs are running. Leo is breaking some things today. I will have a call. No, I'm kidding. Yes.
Last one.
Yes.
Favorite feature of Nx? Your favorite feature of Nx?
My favorite feature is indeed the tweet test atomizer, because before I became a product advocate at Nx, and actually 2 years ago, my first 2 years at Nx, I was working as a consultant to a huge US company through Nx. And you know, these huge corporate companies that have like thousands of developers and a merge train that can take days. And the E2E tests were really, I have PTSD from these E2E tests. So now that you can break down the E2E test suite and run individual test files in parallel, I think to me is amazing.
Thank you again, Katerina.
Thank you.